that, I think, is the first real drop of.
But instead it goes down. 30 have been bowled. 115 for 3. Arif Sheikh put down in the previous over by Zach Lyon Cachet. Big moment in the game, you sense. Really good looking stroke, this one. Just a hint of width, but gets confidently onto the front foot, right on top of any bounce, and drives it away for 4. Yes was the call initially, then no, the throw comes in. Great piece of attempted backing up, but it's going to race to the rope. Kyle Klein, well, he did all the hard work. The end result is going to be 4 runs. In fact, it's Zach Lyon Cachet. Well, a couple of flash points. It was Klein attempting to back it up. It was Lyon Cachet with the throw. Not sure whether he needed to throw it or not. Threw it in a bit of fury. And it's back-to-back boundaries. The Dutch are all of a sudden looking in trouble. How costly is that drop chance going to be? Here it is. Lyon Cachet with the fielding. Probably pretty frustrated having dropped the chance. And then Klein did so well at mid-on, but it just burst off his body. Run out. Gone. Oh, brilliant. It's Kyle Klein, who's just changed the game on its head. Powdell said yes. Then Sheikh said no. The Dutch, who've been probing away, threatening in the field, have the big wicket of Nepal's captain, who wanted the single. Arif Sheikh sat in his bat somewhat. There probably wasn't one in it, but what a throw from Kyle Klein. Oh, marvellous work. And the Dutch, just as they were looking like they were going to be extinguished out of this game, have the big wicket that they needed.
They dropped a catch in the previous over, but created another chance just through the brilliance of their fielding. Bitterly disappointed is Powdell. They could have had Sheikh and Powdell both gone in the space of 2 overs. But the Dutch come roaring back into the contest. Powdell departs for 23. 123 for 4.
Let's see if we can bring you a replay of this outstanding piece of fielding from Kyle Klein. Just watch Arif Sheikh here as well. Powdell really wanted it. Then it's the mix-up and the slip from Powdell. Unbelievable throw, and Powdell's caught a mile short. Probably wasn't one in it. Brilliant from Klein. It'll get us to the second drinks break. Don't go anywhere too far. We'll have a 5-minute break here in the commentary box. It's 123 for 4.
Well, the players have had their refreshments. Hopefully someone slipped something warm in their drinks. Still bitterly cold here at Fort Hill. But that run out now, is that the thing that's required to just spark a very, very important period in this match? Paul van Meekeren runs in from the pavilion end. They've just nudged the door ajar at the moment of the Netherlands.
The reality is there's a bit of pressure on Deepinder Singh Airi too. Recently named as vice captain. Just doesn't have the numbers that he would like with the bats. He'll be acutely aware of that. And he's going to have to try find a way. Doesn't need to play his natural power game that we see him play in the T20 format, but he'd love to get a score here. And he'd love to be not out at the end. The problem is, a tall, fiery, fired up Paul van Meekeren and an even more fired up Roelof van der Merwe at the other end are probably two of the toughest bowlers to play in the associate game. This game, I think it's going all the way. You might think that Nepal still have it under control, but even if they get there, they're going to raise the heart rate, raise the blood pressure of their fans across the world.
You know, they've stayed very much in touching distance of that run rate required. And again, we've seen Van Meekeren pull up a couple of times, and we saw Kingma do the same. And
well, this time is the bails.
It is.
This time is the bails.
But it's still the wind.
Correct.
It's still
yes.
the wind. We've seen them pull up because the heavy bails have been blown off. We've seen them pull up just because I think a strong gust of wind has just come across and just put them off their run up a little bit, almost blown them off their run up.
Beauty, real beauty. Van Meekeren putting his body on the line. Very nearly, we had the score of 1, 2, 3 for 5. Instead, it's 123 for 4 as Deepinder Singh Airi survives.
I'll tell you what, he's a big man. It'd have to be a very strong gust of wind to blow Van Meekeren off his run up. Just try and wrap a blanket around my legs. I know.
Can hear you shivering on air, Mel. Maybe let's start to feel some positivity and some warmth.
We are.
Somehow.
Yeah, it's good. Certainly the match, I feel like it's going to start to warm us up again. Our run rate has been actually going up. It's almost 4 and over now.
Cutaway with good aplomb. Should be at least a couple. There's a tumbling Teja Nidamanuru does well.
It did really well in the end. Made it look graceful as well.
There's been a change in the slip fielder as well. Zach Cachet has been rather, well, unceremoniously whipped out of there, and in goes Vikram Singh, who's probably a more natural slip fielder. Would usually be Noah Kroos, but Kroos has got to take the gloves because Scott Edwards is off with that hamstring injury. We don't know how bad it is yet. All we do know is that he won't be appearing again today. It means that Max O'Dowd is captaining for the Dutch. And Netherlands will hope, given that they've got to take on Scotland in 2 days' time, that Max O'Dowd doesn't have to captain in 2 days' time. The last thing they want is to lose the batting services of their skipper, Scotty Edwards. Played a lot of cricket over the last couple of weeks, Pro Series games. They played 3 top-class games. There was games on Thursday and Saturday last week. He was in good form too for the league leaders in the Premier Dutch Club competition, SV Kampong, as he made a century against the VRA. Zaire just looks a bit nervous, doesn't he? A bit fidgety. It's such a different game, isn't it? T20I cricket to ODI cricket. In T20I cricket, he just comes out and blasts it from ball 1, really. Can't really do that in whatever stage of an ODI you're at, unless you're in the last 5 overs. Gets a sweep out to get off the mark. That'll give him some relief. But he does look nervous out there.
It's one of the things that players all say when they've been playing a lot of T20 cricket and they suddenly then find themselves playing in the 50-over format, that you forget how much time you have, even though you know it intellectually. It's still difficult to get used to. It's the end of another over. 4 runs coming from that. That's the same amount that Van der Merwe had conceded in his first 3 overs, but still, none for 8. Should have been 1 for 8. Well, this is going to be great for people to realise at home. But Ian Potts, who's looked after us magnificently this week here at Fort Hill, has actually just quite literally brought along hot water bottles for myself and Andrew Leonard. What a legend. Apparently Nicola from Cricket Scotland we have to thank for the hot water bottles. That's very, very much appreciated. So Van der Merwe keeping it so tight from that other end. Van Meekeren, his previous over, they did manage to get the run out. Before that, he'd conceded 2 boundaries. Just wondering if he can keep it really tight from this end. Van der Merwe's just given them nothing from the nursery road end. Can they build enough pressure to be able to eke out another wicket? Hot on the heels of the brilliant run out that we've just witnessed. This is good pressure being applied to Irie. He does look a little bit nervous, and it's really the time now for the Netherlands to ensure that he doesn't get settled in. Make the most of this period where Irie is out there trying to establishing himself. When he's mentioned that he will know the numbers haven't quite stacked up. It's brilliant in the field, making contributions and contributions with the bat at important times. Right now, 4 dot balls building up.
The required run rate continues to build up with it. Every chance that the Dutch will drag this game very deep, even if they come out on the losing side. You don't see them losing in sort of 44, 45 overs now, do you? And it's all well and good getting in and spending time at the crease if you get the job done.
Yep.
The problem is, if you take the approach that Irie is taking here to get some time at the crease, and then you don't get a score, you don't finish the job, you don't see it home, then it can put your teammates into very difficult positions. Now, Gulshan Jah and Karen KC got the team out of trouble the last day It's a lovely flowing drive. It's going to come right up towards us. May well get all the way to the rope. It's an outstanding stroke from Dipendra Singh Airi, overpitched and driven through the covers to break the string in the sequence of 5 dots. 33 ball, 131 for 4.
So here, all that pressure built up with 5-dot balls. It's just that little pressure valve opening up and just releasing it there. So Airi will be feeling much better now. First ball that has been overpitched. There's just that perfect drivable length.
Nepal fans just being brought to voice a little bit by that boundary from Airi. What will the instructions have been, do you think, from Stuart Law to Airi and to the lower middle order as to how to approach this chase? Is it a case of just take the game deep, continue to assess, or do they want to counter-attack at some point?
I think it's just keeping touch with those runs required. Because at the moment they are still there and they've only lost 4 wickets. Knowing that they've got that firepower, as they'll just settle for the single. This has been they've got 2 really tight bowlers here at the moment. And the idea that, well, Van der Merwe's still got 5 overs after this one.
The other thing to consider, and I'm mainly saying this because the ground staff know the local conditions and the weather better than us, they've just moved the advertising hoardings to allow access to the covers. I don't think it's going to be a long shower, but you can almost physically see the rain over here, Mel, across the far side of the ground. Back live here now, pulled into the deep as Klein does well to keep it to just a single. So where are Nepal with regards to Duckworth Lewis Stern? Your quiz question, are they ahead or behind?
4 down. Oh, why are you doing this to me?
It's an easy, it's a 50-50.
It is yeah,
well,
it
unless
is.
they're tied, unless they're the
But I
power
want
score.
to be on the right side of the 50, not the wrong side.
You don't have much credit in the bank right now.
I've
You've
got
got to make
none.
some up.
Exactly.
34 bowled, 134 for 4. So at the end of
Okay.
the 34th, what did Nepal
End of the
need to be
34th.
being 4 down?
I
Are
think
they
they're-
ahead or are they behind? It's an easy question.
Okay, I think they're behind.
It's close. I'll give you, there's a clue. It's close.
So I'm close but wrong.
No, I didn't,
No?
I didn't say that. I'm asking
I
you
don't
to
think
have
they're
a think.
like.
So
That's
at the end of the 34th over, what total do they need to be at to be ahead of Duckworth Lewis?
Okay, I think they need to be 138.
You're close.
Oh,
They need to be 133. They're ahead by a run.
oh wow. Okay,
So that's how close this game is. It's
Right.
neck and neck.
it really
It
is.
really is neck and neck. I don't think that little shower we might get is going to be completely fatal.
No.
But I do think that it could take us off for a little bit. I think we probably have about 10 minutes spare time. We lost about 20 minutes in the game, and there's 30 minutes grace.
The temperature has just dropped as well, notably, just in the last couple of minutes.
Michael Levitt returns to the attack. I know for a fact that the standing captain will have a DLS sheet. Good run in from Arif Sheikh. Will get back for 2. It's a long pocket and corner of the ground up there. Levitt doesn't like it, but does get home. Yeah, it's about a run a ball required, just slightly under. 6 wickets in hand. It's kind of an old-fashioned coin toss. I don't think that you can. I've never seen a cloud like that where you can actually see the rain. If we do get that chair, I don't think it's going to take us off entirely, but you still want to make sure you're ahead of it if you can be.
You always do, don't you, whenever there's any break of play, just because you never know. Well, it's interesting, a change of ends for Levitt as well, who bowled a terrific spell earlier. taking a couple of wickets.
Well, wickets change things massively.
They do.
If they were to lose a wicket, Nepal would go behind on DLS. They're just ahead at the moment. The reason, I suppose, I think if you don't know your associate cricketer, particularly if you don't know your Nepalese cricket or Nepali cricket, you should still be thinking that you want to be in the batting side's position. But it's just the pressure cooker of the situation, how well the Netherlands bowl and field, and how fragile historically, not maybe in this new Stuart Law era, but historically how fragile Nepal have been at chasing down totals. That's why I genuinely think it's still a coin toss here. I think it's a 50-50. I don't think either side's in such a dominant position that they should win. Maybe Nepal will feel as though they've played the better cricket thus far today, and they obviously want to win. This goes out towards us. Going to go all the way to the rope. Arif Sheikh. Well, he was put down, wasn't he, by Zachlian Cachet. Shocking misfield in the deep by Naveen, our coordinator. Wouldn't see him do that in his club cricket, but he's given it away, and that races for 4.
Yeah, it's given a life. And he's holding this innings together. That was a lovely lofted drive. Held the pose as well. And let's not talk too much about the misfield in the deep.
Oh, beauty beats the outside edge. End of the 35th, 15 to go. Nepal, they're inching closer, 140 for 4.
I guess the thing that will make Nepal feel that they are in the better position, notwithstanding the rain, which might actually just be skirting us, by the way, because that cloud we were looking at, because of the wind today, it's moved a huge amount across the ground already, a long way. You can actually see the rain moving laterally across the sky in front of us. But because they've got Gulshan Jah still to come in, because they've still got Karen Casey, they'll feel like they have the firepower to up the run rate.
Well, and Gulshan Jah, probably more so Jah than KC. Jah, with the overs of Van der Merwe remaining, Gulshan Jah loves left arm spin. At the moment, Nepal have just kind of patted him back, haven't they? He's bowled 5.2 overs for 11.
Yeah.
That's 32 deliveries for 11 runs.
And should have had a wicket in there as well. In a way, you almost feel it would be unjust if he didn't take at least one wicket today, because you just think the way he's bowled, he deserves it.
Is some rain. Getting not heavy rain, but spits of rain. Ground staff aren't panicking, so maybe it is just going to kind of go around us. Oh, it's now coming in on our commentary position. Maybe just trying to escape back into our commentary position a touch. Apologies.
There's a lot of water sensitive equipment around us.
Challenging day on
tell you,
every angle.
I'm just looking up there at our camera crew as well.
Our heroes up there.
Boy, oh boy. Great
Boys-
work.
Boys from the Czech Republic. Or Czechia, it's obviously now known as well. Yeah, the gantry that they're up on, the reason, I know we've had lots of messages about the coverage, the reason that we haven't been able to bring you the behind the bowler's arm view today, it was deemed unsafe by the safety check that goes ahead of any game that we broadcast, and understandably with the, I think, rumoured as high as 60 kilometre an hour. Some of those winds now, was this edged?
I think that was it? Where's that a drop? I'd like to see that again.
Van der Merwe thinks everything is edged,
Yeah.
and Noah Crow says, come on, that one wasn't. Let's see if we can get a look. It's not going to be easy to tell. But has Dipender Singh Airi been given a life now? Not certain. Sing It Slip seems to think so as well.
Hard to say, but it's a maiden over there for Van der Merwe.
Just see if we can roll it through once more. Maybe slow it down as well. Because of our angles, I was just literally talking about, it's going to be tough for us to tell for certain. One of Airi's favourite shots is that, if anything, it might be an inside edge, is it? Just snatched it at a touch. Noah Crow's, it's not just his captaincy the Dutch are missing, also his glove work. Scott Edwards off the field, as Levitt's going to bowl his 9th. And that's flayed through the covers and going to race towards the rope, and we'll get to the rope. A really good stroke. Vikramjit Singh can't cut it off. Arif Sheikh is nicely going through the gears now.
And what they're doing well is they're seeing off Van der Merwe at one end and then just getting the odd 4 ball at the other end, whether it was from Van Meekeren earlier or now from Michael Levitt. And that boundary coming at the start of the over is the best possible time to release pressure.
He's got the reputation of the man that Nepal always want in a crisis, does Arif Sheikh. Fantastic middle order player.
Well, this innings, 41 off 69. He's had to scratch around a bit at certain times, but he's stayed in there, and he's just helped them stay in touch of where they need to be.
That's not a good delivery, not at Michael Levitt's pace, just helped around the corner. That'll help Airi, just give him a little bit of confidence. He's taken a while to get going, gets his second boundary, and gets to double figures.
Yeah, real reliever this over. And well, we wondered if Levitt might actually bowl out his 10 overs, but he's not having as much success bowling from this pavilion end. He bowled his first spell from the nursery road end.
And this is the problem with sticking to 5 bowlers, particularly when one of them's a part-timer. If you get a 6th bowler and you have that bit of flexibility, haven't gone to Zach Lyon Cachet because you haven't seen a left-hander out there yet. And he hasn't gone to Vikramjit Singh, who maybe in these conditions today might have been a better option. Good wrists from Airi, works that down for a single. The predominantly Nepalese crowd, there is 2 Dutch fans here, see over the far side, has been kept a bit subdued, but with 150 now coming up, they're starting to find their voice.
I can barely feel my lips, so I'm amazed that they've been able to actually chant out there. I've done it hard in these conditions as well.
Going to run a single. Oh, now a good throw. And even though Airi is as fast as lightning, he could have been in trouble. Took on the fielder after the fumble and gets home, but the throw was well wide of the stumps.
11 runs off that Michael Levitt over. A real release in pressure there. And it's brought up that second but one single, the 150. See there, a throw nowhere near the stumps in the end. 151 for 4 after 37. But look at that equation, 75 needed from 78. And with 6 wickets in hand, you think that at the moment, Nepal have this game perhaps just more in their control. But Van der Merwe's back.
Question about the fans has come into me. He says, why are the Nepali fans so calm in and around the field today? The reason is it is unbelievably cold and very hostile, blustery and windy conditions out there. Many of them have taken a shelter in the drinks marquee over the far side. They're hardy souls, those. There's also less of them today because we heard that there's been There's a significant group always coming on the Monday. I think we'll get a good crowd again on Sunday as Scotland will take on Nepal that day. Irie, very much a fan favourite. They're starting to get behind him. Question as well from Shariash Powdell, who says it was said that Nepal could not win a single match in the series, but Nepal won the first game and they're putting on an amazing display in this game too. What do we have to say about the performance, and how will Stuart Law and his Australian winning mentality affect this team? Well, Mel Farrell's better placed to speak about that Australian winning mentality than I am.
Sometimes I don't know, is it a bit of a myth that's like Australia knows how to win World Cups?
How can that be a myth? They've literally won more World Cups than any country by a mile.
But sometimes it's so I have a theory about that. That's not necessarily that they know how to do it. It's that there's if you have intergenerational trauma. As I take another single, yeah, I think you can have intergenerational confidence, and I often think with Australia, it's not that they have this magical formula that means they go into a World Cup with plans that nobody else has thought of, that means they just know how to do it. It's a confidence factor by seeing previous generations do it. And I've asked some of the Australian players about it. Spanked away. Just going to be the single though. And some of the Australian players have said to me, well, it just doesn't seem something that's foreign. We look at teams that have come and done it before. So we think, well, they've done it, so obviously we can.
They were nowhere in the first 3 World Cups.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things that then I'm talking about the current lot now. So all I'm saying
So
is...
you're saying it was Alan Border and Steve Waugh?
Yeah, and they started this thing, and other teams, I'm talking about the current generation.
So do they then not have a winning mentality?
Yeah, they do have a winning mentality, but it's not that. It's just different when people say they know how to win World Cups as if they've got some magic formula. But there's a confidence that just comes from watching previous generations. So all anyone has to do is do it once, and then that can breed the same success. Stop it, Lenny.
"12 overs remain. 155 for 4 the score. Michael Levitt's going to bowl his 10th and final. Max O'Dowd wants to get his 5th bowler out of the way, it feels like, and wrapped up. Interesting call this to get him done. He's bowled well. He's picked up 2 wickets for the first time in international cricket. As Nepal, they just need to keep knocking it around. They need almost exactly a run a ball.
But there certainly always is an expectation. And I think that comes down to fans as well. It's just a big difference between fans from Australia and fans from other countries.
Oh, beauty. Now, how is this missed? It somehow is missed on height. Unbelievable delivery that I think, again, a bit like the one that bowled Kushal Bertel, has nipped back in off the seam. It's only missed on height, nothing else. It is cut, shake in half. Somehow goes over off stump.
Oh, dear, oh dear. Well, he's got a couple today to nip back in beautifully. Just off that seam. Oh, can he produce another magic ball? That one's driven nicely.
We're just receiving some tragic news coming in from India. What should be a joyous day for RCB fans. 11 people have died, Mel Farrell. In what was supposed to be a victory parade at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. And there's been a chain of events that's led to a tragedy and stampede-like conditions in and around the Chinnaswamy. So all of our thoughts just only hearing about that now. And with the capacity of the stadium only being 35,000, I don't think anyone expected the millions that turned up. And let's hope that all those who have been injured as well can recover quickly. This one's cut away. Cut away for a single. Terrible to hear that after such emotion, elation and joy for RCB's first IPL. You saw Virat Kohli, the icon of the game that he is, speak so evocatively about his journey to win a first IPL and the continued importance of the Test game. Tragic to hear that. Shocking.
That is absolutely shocking.
Never want to hear of anything like that in sport. Good over from Michael Evatt. Good spell too. 39 have been bowled, 158 for 4 the score. Puts things into perspective a touch as well. Just a game that we're watching here today. And let's hope that for those fans watching on from India and fan code, they can enjoy the rest of this match and see whichever way it goes.
It's got a tickle in my throat.
11 overs left. Vivian Kingma is going to return to the attack. Important overs, these ones, because Kingma's threat tends to be with the new ball, less so in the latter stages, although he has worked hard on his death bowling. The required run rate is just a fraction over a run a ball, but Nepal still have the 4 wickets in hand. Any threat of that rain share seems to have gone around the Forfarshire CC venue. Kingma's also had a change of ends, so he'll be not trying to swing the ball away anymore. He'll actually use that wind to try and force it in and probably bowl a tight line to the stumps, I would imagine. Dipender Singh Ari's got to 15. As Kingma loses his footing. Again, the wind continues to wreak havoc.
I think it's the first time that Kingman's bowled from this end today.
Yeah, correct. His 2 other spells were with the wind aiding his away swing. A target of 226, it's not going to come easily, but Nepal, as long as they stay 4 down, will feel as though it's well within their compass. Nairi took a while to get going, just starting to grow in confidence out there.
Yeah, he got off the mark with that boundary off Van Meekeren, the last ball of his over, and he really had been scratching around until that point, but just feel with each over that they don't lose another wicket. They'll be growing more and more confident that they can chase this down, bearing in mind the power they still have to come in this batting lineup.
Fascinating period for Max O'Dowd to captain as well. First time he's doing it for the Dutch, as far as I'm aware, because whilst you want to try and bring that scoreboard into play and get the required run rate to become a factor, I don't think you win this game if you're the Netherlands, if you don't take a few wickets.
I think it's their only way. Absolutely. Desperately need wickets. It's just where do they come from?
So allowing Irie and Sheikh just to work it around for singles like they're doing currently, the game's going to drift away from you. You've almost got to take a risk, get an extra man up into the circle. At the moment, there is just the mandatory fielders in place. So 5 in the circle, 4 in the deep. Okay, it could cost you a boundary, but it might create a chance for a wicket.
Well, you're right. At the moment, it does feel like the game is drifting. And it's drifting towards a Nepal victory.
There's always a twist, always a turn in this league, particularly if Nepal are involved.
Yeah, it keeps us on our toes.
You would think Nepal are favourites right now, no doubt about that. But
For sure. In conventional circumstances, a team in this position, absolutely, they would be favourites. But you just never know.
banged into the surface again from Kingma. Sheikh unable to get the uppercut that he was looking for. It is fascinating, isn't it? There may be in different conditions, all right, but there's maybe a few shades of that USA-Netherlands game from Voorburg that I was talking about last August, where, you know, for all money you thought as though there could only be one result, which was for the home side to go down to a heavy defeat as USA were cantering. But the Dutch have a great way of taking things deep. As that goes down towards deep third, but it's going to go all the way. And what a way to go to 50. It's the first maximum, I think, of the day. Don't remember one prior to that. And that's going to soar into the sky for 6 to end Kingma's over. 3 consecutive short balls. Sheikh moves to a marvellous 50. It's come in reasonably slow time, but what a way to bring it up.
Well, first half century as well today. And it's been a real show of patience and sheer determination from Sheikh. He's had to work really hard for these runs. There's never been a point in this match where you felt like it's easy, and it certainly hasn't been for him. But it's a fine job, and he's really been holding this chase together since he came out here. 40 overs gone, 167 for 4.
It is the first maximum of the day in either innings. It's the first 50 of the day too. Brought up in grand style. As maybe a last sort of roll of the dice from the Dutch. They've only got 2 overs left of Paul van Meekeren, and you would imagine that they're going to need at least a wicket or two. Just got a bit too predictable. It was the width on offer from Kingma that ended up allowing it to be helped high and handsome. That fan looks like he got a video of that up in the deep as well. Maybe the biggest cheer of the day too. Call him the Iceman in icy conditions here in Dundee. Arif Sheikh's getting it done. As Paul van Meekeren is cut away for a single. In fact, it's going to be a couple as Vivian Kingma's rather innocuous day continues. A misfield, a fumble from him, and Irie so quick he takes off in a flash. Roars of Nepal. Nepal ring around the ground for the first time today. Be a crucial 2 points, these ones, for Nepal. I don't think even the most optimistic of their fans would have expected 2 wins from 2 against the 2 European Premier associates in their conditions. I know we're not in the Netherlands, I know we're in Scotland, but not altogether different. Interesting fielding position Max O'Dowd is in. He's not out fully at a long off. He's kind of 15 yards off the rope as Irie gets out his favoured cut shot and gets back for the second very quickly. Dutch look as though they're just being run ragged a touch here. Max O'Dowd doesn't really know where to turn or what to do. They've been outplayed for the majority of this game, Mel Farrell.
Yeah, they have. And look, it's obviously been a real blow losing their captain, Scott Edwards. And we've seen the effect of that, missing him with the gloves as well as captaincy. Just a few fielding mistakes. But you go back to how well Nepal fielded, and they barely put a finger or a toe wrong.
Cannot bowl there to Dipender Singh. He loves to cut. Van Meekeren isn't moving as fluently as he did in the Netherlands. It can't be easy to warm up for each of your spells here in this bitter cold.
It's so difficult to... I love that you use the phrase warm up, Lenny, because I think that's absolutely impossible. Absolutely impossible to warm up in any way, shape or form. But it just hasn't been as clinical from the Netherlands.
Don't think they got enough runs. They'll always scrap away with their fielding, and they got a fine bowling attack, but don't think 225 on this surface was near enough. 260 in the game, 225 too few for me. Even if they could have got up to 250, maybe a different kind of ball game then. But it's another good test for Nepal early in this Stuart Law era as to whether or not they can be more clinical and more ruthless than they maybe were certainly in ODI cricket at points over the last 12 months. That'll be a wide outside the off stump.
Certainly at the moment you would much rather be in Nepal's position.
18 wides for the Netherlands now in this second innings. 17 for Nepal in the first. That's
how much of a factor do you think the wind is in that?
huge. Yeah, huge factor.
It's well, it has been consistent for both sides.
Crowd really finding their voice and trying to cheer Nepal on.
Yeah, they certainly were the extra fielder or extra squad member in the last game.
Looks for the Yorker, but just clipped into the leg side for what will just be a single this time. Great communication between Irie and Arif Sheikh in between the wickets. End of the 41st. It is 174 for 4. Bowling figures here for Netherlands. I think they've missed a trick by not getting a sixth bowler into the game in some capacity. Have a couple of options there with Vikramjit Singh and Lion Cachet.
Yeah, well, they've still got 2 overs from Kyle Klein. Look how tight he's been. Van der Merwe as well. They did have to rely on Michael Levitt for full 10 overs, and he took 2 wickets, bowled really well, thought, in that first spell. When he came back for his second spell, he was a little looser, and the problem is because they've had not a big total to defend, just any mistakes are punished so severely.
Here is Vivian Kingma, who's pulled away in sensational style. And those fans over there are loving every second. Hitting with the wind, gets it up into the air, and it goes well over the head of Vikramjit Singh. Second maximum, and it again goes to the bat of Arif Sheikh.
Well, that fan, I thought he had a cape tied around his shoulder, and I thought he was going to take off like Superman then, trying to take that ball.
Great job by Vikram Singh finding that ball.
Yeah. That helps matters. The run rate required is now well under a run a ball, down towards that 5 and over. They don't have to do anything crazy. They don't actually need the power hitting that comes behind them to get them out of a situation. They just have to bat sensibly.
Yeah, just thinking back to that game in Voorburg where the Dutch pulled it out of the fire as if from nowhere. There's a few similarities, but it's not the exact same. As you see the 6 again, great strike from Arif Sheikh. That day the Dutch made 237 for 7, which felt a bit under par. And after 40 overs, USA were cruising along. They were, in fact, 41 overs. They were 200 for 5. So they needed 38 to win off 9 overs at about 4 and over. Somehow, mainly thanks to Kyle Klein and a few other moments of magic, USA collapsed 218 all out. So they will keep fighting the Dutch. They won't stop believing. There's still more than 40 runs required to win here. That drop of Arif Sheikh, though, is looking incredibly costly, isn't it? Lion Cachet dropping him on 25.
Well, it certainly is. Might be the key moment in this entire match. They still do have 2 overs from Klein, who hasn't taken any wickets, and
well,
so it must be due, right?
They've got to get Klein into the game now.
Yeah.
It can't wait any longer. It was Klein actually in the 43rd over against USA that sparked that collapse. He picked up 1. Aryan Dutt, who's not in the team, got another. Van Meekeren, another. He got 2 actually, and Kingma got 1.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, Lenny, that if they hold him back for the last couple of overs, I think it's just going to be too late.
Yeah, he's got to come in now. Thought Klein might actually bowl this over, but he chose to persist with Vivian. Kingma did Max O'Dowd. Another short ball. Not sure of the tactics here from Kingma as it's hacked away and hacked away for 4. Diving effort in the deep, doesn't cut it off, and the Dutch, well, they're in danger of being blitzed away here. Nepal hunting down 2 famous victories inside 3 days.
And what a remarkable start to their tour of Scotland. That would be just too short. It wasn't the most elegant shot. Doesn't matter because the result is 4 runs. And they are edging closer.
Really was a hack into the leg side, but very effective from Irie. Really not sure about this short ball tactic or where or why it's coming from. Kingma doesn't have the pace to be bowling at that length.
We saw a little bit of that from Levitt in his final spell as well, going short, and the lack of pace, meaning it was just sitting up nicely for the batters to put away. That run rate required now under 5, so it's dropped from above 6 to 4.9 in the space of a couple of overs. And you still don't feel like the batters are taking any risks. I think we're looking at last chance saloon territory for Netherlands, and they're going to have to turn to Klein, surely.
Slower ball bouncer this time as we get to the end of the 42nd. Nepal, 186 for 4. Fans really getting into the game, aren't they? All on their feet now for the first time. Chanting away, Nepal, Nepal rings out around the Forfarshire Cricket Club grounds. Kyle Klein, it is, who's going to return to the attack. Don't think we'll quite see the mass euphoria and a pitch invasion today. Let's hope we don't. We've seen a few messages go out. Good diving stop from Vikramjit Singh. Saves the boundary but can't stop the single. Yeah, we've seen some messages go out from Cricket Scotland and indeed the Cricket Association. Nepal asking the fans just to stay off the playing surface. I think everyone can forgive them 48 hours ago, such was the occasion. Big shot down the ground, mid-off is up in the circle. No timing, might have come a little bit more off the toe than anything, but it will get to the rope. And Nepal are looking to add an exclamation point to this victory here. The finishing line is coming into sight, and even Kyle Klein, who just is almost never kept wicketless, is looking ineffectual. Arif Sheikh also growing in confidence.
Yeah, what an innings this has been. Didn't really get all of that at all. Just enough on it, even without wind assistance, just to see the ball rolling over the rope. One of the few times he's gone aerial, but with mid-off up, it still wasn't really a risk. And again, just getting that boundary away early in the over. They've done that quite a few times, Nepal.
Looks like Roelof van der Merwe is going to come into the attack alongside Klein. Another final roll of the dice, really. You feel a bit for Max O'Dowd because he hasn't done the role before. I'm not saying he's done a bad job at all, but don't have enough runs on the board. And then maybe the one thing you could fault him at is not getting a sixth bowler in, giving Vikramjit Singh or or Lion Cache, who's tended to bowl very economically in his early stages of his international career, as they dash a quick single. Thought they could have given him a bowl. The spinners have tended to go pretty well, haven't they, across the course of the 2 games so far?
Just pause because actually our marquee's just lifted up a little bit around us.
That pole is very nearly come down actually on top of us as well.
Where hopefully things are just going to stay together enough. But as they take another single, yep, that was just sort of saw the marquee around us lift up a little bit. So, look, we haven't got long to keep it all together, Lenny. And in fact, we might not even have to the end of 50 overs because Nepal, they are coming home with a bit of a wet sail, thanks largely to this wonderful innings by Sheikh.
I think this is going to almost be more important, though, for Dipender Singh Airi in a funny way. There's been quite a bit of nonsense online about the new vice captain in this format. 43 had been bowled, 194 for 4. If he could walk off here 40 odd not out, maybe even find 50, would just do him the world of good, and all of a sudden add a huge amount of balance and depth to this ODI side for Nepal. Tell you what else it would do, Mel, if Nepal can get over the line. It would really make this Cricket World Cup a League 2 table all the more fascinating. It's always evolving, of course it is, with every tri-series, but, you know, did a preview of this series, and I said that if Nepal could come away with 2 wins from 4, it'd be a good effort for Stuart Law, because this is as challenging and as tough a tour as you could imagine, particularly to begin with for a new head coach in this league. But if they can apply the finishing touches here and make it 4 points from the first 2 games, they're going to be thinking of 3 or 4 wins, aren't they? As Van der Merwe comes back into the attack, good use of the feet from Arif Sheikh, and look at the speed of Dipender Singh Airi. Unbelievable how quickly he's got back for 2 there.
He's rapid, isn't he? Flying tiger.
Must be such fun to be that quick, to be able to just out-sprint everyone around you. But yeah, if they can complete the job here, and they very much have the Dutch on ice right now.
4 wickets down. Yeah.
Cut away. It should just be the single. But yeah, if they can complete the job, if they could take a 3rd or 4th win on this tour in this format, that League 2 table, then Nepal would have 4 games in hand over most of the rest of the opposition. By the time they complete the 8 games to get up to 20, you might be looking at a position whereby, well, Namibia are going to get themselves into bother down towards 7th or 8th spot. Swept around the corner. Just be a single. Canada could get themselves into bother as well after such a flying start. The only thing really we can say for certain in this league, particularly if Nepal have an outstanding tour here, is that the UAE are in all sorts of bother down in number 8.
I just expect that the table is going to tighten up a lot more than it is at the moment. Slashed away. They're doing this now as the target comes into view. I actually think they've paced this innings really well.
It's a very un-Nepal innings. It's a very mature one. It's a very undramatic one. Outside of that run out, maybe, that was a moment of magic from Kyle Klein. There hasn't been too many moments of real drama.
Well, they've just paced it. They've kept in touch with it. And then as the bowlers have tired, as they've got towards the end of their spells, they've made the most of the loose deliveries.
Wind continues to buffet even our cameras at a lower level. Can't remember a windier game of cricket than today, but the 200's up for Nepal. 44 have been bowled. It is now 200 for 4. if Nepal can apply the finishing touches here, Mel, and this points table, which we'll get a look at now, sees Nepal up to 10 points, get up to double digits, to within 2 wins of Namibia with 6 games in hand. They're going to maybe be able to get themselves out of those kind of bogey positions of 7th or 8th and start to dream again of a top 4 spot.
Absolutely. And, I think that they'll be looking at Scotland and Canada where they are. Scotland still do have 3 games in hand as well from the other teams that are around them. But I just think Nepal go vertical. And going vertical, that was the Sydney Sixers women used that as a mantra several years back when they were at the bottom of the table and they ended up having this incredible run. It was Sixers go vertical. Maybe we need to adopt that for Nepal, because for me, looking at that table, there's only one way that Nepal are going.
So it's going vertical down under.
Don't, you know I'm having a shocker today. Don't make it worse.
26 to win, 6 overs to do it. Klein in his final over. He has barely been kept wicketless his entire career, but right now it's looking very much like it's going to be the case. Hasn't bowled badly at all. He's been very economical, but Nepal have found a way to nullify his threat.
Well, the problem is that because they only put a modest total on the board, there's been no choice but to be economical, and that hasn't been enough. They've had to be both economical and take wickets in order to have a chance in this match.
Oh, nearly gets his first. We nearly talk him into one.
I know you talk about the importance of Ari and this innings for him, but it's a very different innings to say what we saw from Karen Casey the other day, but in its own way, it's been as impressive from Sheikh. Just because of the way he's steered this innings, he's paced it perfectly, hasn't taken the risk. He took his time.
And he's accelerated, lovely, isn't he?
Yes.
Strokes like that. That'll be 4 more. He's guiding Nepal home. This result is looking like it's only going to go one way. And the Nepal fans, lesser in number than 2 days ago, they're not any less loud right now.
Yeah, just seeing there from Sheikh that more aggression coming in, but he's earned the right to be aggressive, and he played that in. I almost thought that ball came back in a touch, but picked the spot perfectly. Great placement, great timing, great shot.
Guided away behind square. It's going to race to the longest part of the ground, but not quite get to the rope. And Depender Singh Ari says, I'll have 3. Thank you very much. Cantered 3 there. Ari Sheikh doing slightly heavier breaths in his running. Kyle Klein, well, much of this Dutch performance has just looked not quite at their usual best. They'll have a tall task in 2 days' time. Remember, they were beaten pretty roundly by Scotland in their last game on home soil. Could be staring down the barrel of 3 consecutive defeats unless they turn things around pretty quickly. And got to remember, this is the side that qualified for the 50-over World Cup 2 years ago. Those dramatic circumstances down in Zimbabwe. Of course, they're missing some players. We all know they are, but just a few ominous scenes here for the men in orange, as Kyle Klein will be wicketless for the first time in 11 internationals. He'll end up with none for 39, respectable figures, but no wickets next to his name. And with 5 overs remaining, it's just 18 runs required to win. Nepal, 208 for 4.
The thing is, I think this is such a great combination of teams to have in this round. Nepal, Scotland, Netherlands. It also wouldn't surprise me to see Netherlands come around and beat Scotland. And then you have Scotland beating Nepal. This is one of those rounds, right? You can just see these teams each beating up on each other on their own day. Really competitive. And we'll have it all for you on ICC TV as well. So make sure you stay with us over the next week and a half, because there's three such good sides that are taking to the field here at Fort Hill.
Still sticking with the 5 bowlers is Max O'Dowd. No temptation to. I don't think they have a lot to lose. Maybe tossing the ball to a Zach Lyon Cachet, sticking everyone out on the rope and seeing if you can play to the ego of an Irie or a Sheikh and get one caught in the deep. Do you think it's a weakness of the Dutch side with this strategy they've persisted with, which is 7 out-and-out batters, meaning that your 5th bowler has to come from the part-timers? So today it was Michael Levitt, who's bowled pretty well. He used Zach Lyon Cachet a lot in May. Don't really understand why Aryan Dutt is not in the 11. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, however many left-handers are in the opposition side.
Yeah, it's a funny one, because then also you talked before about the soft underbelly, perhaps in the middle to lower order.
Well, I think that's why they're going with 7 batters.
That's
you're trying to lengthen the batting lineup.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. And they've put up a total today that you would say was under par. Go back to that decision at the toss to bat first.
It's a misread. I'm sorry. We may not speak to Scotty Edwards after this game. I think Max O'Dowd will come and chat to us, because Edwards will want to rest his leg. But for me, it's a misread. It's that simple. Conditions have not got any more difficult to bat. If anything, they've improved and got a bit easier. And with the challenge of the weather that we've played in today, I just cannot understand why you'd want to bat first.
Well, if you felt, even in that game 2 days ago, that maybe conditions eased a little bit for batting as well. And that's taking nothing away from Nepal batting second and the way that they chased. But
I think the hybrid pitches tend to stay pretty consistent, so any assistance you're going to get is early. And that's what we saw. Karen KC getting a lovely full delivery through Max O'Dowd. It was a massive moment in the game. Yeah, I think it's a misread. They always have a lot of belief in their ability. They will get a couple and maybe a couple more. I think Irie's going to get 3 here, as the pressure tells on Michael Levitt. Dutch, well, they've just been run ragged. They're going to be going down to a defeat here. And being frank, a defeat that, outside of maybe one wobble when Rohit Paudel was run out, kind of almost looked like it was under control for Nepal. Throughout all 100 overs.
It's been a completely different chase than we saw against Scotland. I go back to Sheikh and the maturity of his innings, the pacing of it. Choosing the moments to attack, choosing when to accumulate. It's just being controlled. Control is the word that I've used. What are you talking about? You're trying to say to me it's never a straightforward chase with Nepal. Hey,
well, it hasn't been.
I don't believe you. It's only my second game, and it's all been hunky dory.
Don't rule out dot wicket, double wicket maiden. And someone scrambling to get their pads on at number 8. I don't think the Dutch have actually really shown enough.
No.
And just as we say it, there's going to be a chance. And a catch, a very well held catch in the deep. Excellent. And Mel Farrell, maybe, just maybe, you'll learn never to say too many things. Vivian Kingma has his first for the day, and Arif Sheikh finally falls. He's gone for 78. The tactic of banging it into the surface has worked. It's probably going to be too little, too late. But Vivian Kingma does have the breakthrough.
Well, he shuffled a long way across, and that ball was wide outside the off stump. But just the uppercut, the danger of going so high in the air as that swirling wind. A really good take in the end. Well controlled roll.
Yeah, Teja Nidamanori with the excellent grab in the deep, did everything right to somehow get underneath it. Fantastic knock from Arif Sheikh. He's surely done enough to see Nepal home. He's gone for 78 as Nepal lose their 5th. All the Nepal fans will be thinking is, please don't give us a double wicket maiden to follow. Otherwise, the soothsaying Andrew Leonard will be saying to Mel Farrell, I told you so. There's never such a thing as a simple chase for Nepal. They do only need 14. They should get over the line here. Credit to the Dutch, they do always keep scrapping. I think that the likely bowling change we'll see after this is surely Paul van Meekeren's got to bowl the next over and just try and blast a couple out.
Yeah, just 14 more required from 25 deliveries. And they do have 5 wickets in hand. Still trying to get my lips to work properly.
King was going to come round the wicket. Gulshan Jah comes in at number 7. Good finish to his over. 46 have been bowled, 212 for 5 the score. Get a look at the batting card here, Mel. You'll see that it was Arif Sheikh, the top scorer of the day, but Dipender Singh Ari, particularly if he could end not out, with a clinical and critical innings from him.
Absolutely, and undoubtedly great for his confidence as well. It'd be wonderful for him if he could see this chase home and just control it at the end. He was a good support, good foil for Arif Sheikh, but a good innings in its own right as well. Just take it home with Gulshan Jah. Or can there be a final little flurry, starting with this over from Paul van Meekeren, who we thought might be a real factor in this chase, particularly when he took a wicket with his second ball. But it just hasn't been that kind of day for the Dutch.
Now, one last opportunity for Paul van Meekeren, who's been a bit expensive today. Probably not at his very best, for him to try and find something to cheer. His final over. Half an appeal, but given as a wide. Thought as though Dipender Singh Ari got something on it. And he still does. Can't believe it's been given as a wide. Umpire David McLean disagrees. And even Dipender Singh Ari says, well, he's got a bit of a guilty look on his face, doesn't he? And I think we're going to see, yes, David McLean works in tandem with his square leg umpire to reverse his decision. That's great umpiring. I love when I see an umpire open to be able to admitting that he's just missing something.
I think that is brilliant. And using the square leg umpire as well, and making sure the person who's in the best position as
I think Dipender Singh Ari's guilty schoolboy look as well kind of gave away that he had hit it. Looks for the Yorker, clipped into the leg side. Wants a second, but Gulshan Jah says, no, not taking on Teja Nidamanoru in the deep. That was a good catch out there.
Really good catch. Good dive, good roll.
$14 more, 23 balls to do it. Jah tends to score very quickly.
Yeah,
little boundary would just settle the nerves here for Nepal, if there are any.
Yeah, he's not someone I imagine who just likes to knock it around to get over the line. Might see a little flourish. Gee, he batted well a couple of days ago. Batted brilliantly in that chase.
Starts aggressively immediately, and there is the boundary that Nepal wanted. It'll just about get to the rope. Maxodeh, it'll chase in vain. Banged into the pitch. And Jah copes with it wonderfully well.
Well, like we said, he wasn't likely to knock it around to get these remaining runs. Really love watching Jah bat. He was outstanding. And they're not even going to require Karen Casey, I don't think, at all for the chase. Lenny?
I think there'll be a few in Nepal that will just ask you to stop making predictions like that. Watch the flurry of wickets that will follow.
I'm confident.
You just cursed Arif Sheikh in the previous over. This one's driven. Flowing lead. Great diving stop, though. Excellent effort body on the line from the grand old man, Ronald van der Merwe. He never quits, does he? Yeah, if you're wondering about that umpiring signal you might have seen, basically you cross your arms across your chest and touch the opposite shoulder. That means you revoke the last signal that you made. Therefore, the wide is no longer valid. Just for those wondering as to how the laws work. Great piece of umpiring in partnership between the two hometown Scottish umpires. Here's the diving stop from Van der Merwe. Excellent.
Evergreen, isn't he?
8 to win now, and Irie looks absolutely desperate and destined to be there at the death. He moves to 38. Been a fine innings, hasn't it? Because he chewed up a lot of pressure at the start, and we spoke about that if you walk off not out at the end, there's no problem doing that. But if you get out, you can put your side in a bind.
I think this innings will do the world of good for him because he was chewing up those balls. But managed to stick around. He looked fidgety and nervy at the start of his innings, but settled in, supportive of Shake out there as well. And the pair of them have done so much to get Nepal home.
Good short ball. We'll round out Van Meekeren's over, and Van Meekeren's spell, not his day to be honest, 1 for 63, bit of a surprise given how well he bowled throughout the trip on home soil to Amsterdam and Utrecht. He gives a pat on the back to umpire David McLean. Highest score that Dipender Singh Irie has made in ODI cricket since all the way back in July 2023 when he made 79 not out in the playoff stage of the Cricket World Cup qualifier. Actually, outside of an 85 earlier in the year against Scotland, really hasn't. Only the 50 he's made at any point was all the way back in November 2022. So it's been a bit of a lean trot for him. This innings will fill him full of confidence to see the side on, and as to why that wasn't given as a wide, not over the head height position of Irie. Van der Merwe will bowl 48 and 50 if we need to get there. But Gulshan Jah, I think we know the way he plays. He might try to end this with a maximum, hitting up towards those Nepal fans that are gathered over Long On.
We haven't seen anyone really try and attack Van der Merwe.
Haven't needed to, really, have they?
No. But he's done a terrific job of keeping it tight as well. Should have had a wicket. He's actually bowled really well. Had a dropped catch at slip.
Does try to end it with a maximum, and he takes on the long off fielder, and what a way to win it. Gulshan Jah, I thought he might take on the left arm spinner, indeed he does, and Nepal have made it 2 from 2. They get there in grand style. It's a comfortable, it's a confident, it's a fabulous 5-wicket victory. An emphatic, marvellous performance. They've beaten the side that wasn't even in this league the last time around. They were up in the Super League. They've taken on the Scots on home soil. KC was too good for them that day 2 days ago. But today, with that grand winning 6, they finish off and they make it an unbeaten start to Stuart Law's era. Nepal win by 5 wickets.
And showing that they can do it more than one way as well. A first win was a desperate chase that needed an injection of aggression. This time it's been calm, it's been mature, it's been controlled all the way through. They did a brilliant job in restricting Netherlands earlier and giving themselves a fairly modest total to chase down. But the way they did it, I think that will make Stuart Law really happy. Just to see that there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way for Nepal to win a game of cricket.
Credit to the Nepal fans who've abided by the pleas not to come onto the playing surface. And they have stayed. I'm sure players will go up and greet them and pose for some photos and maybe sign a few autographs if people still collect them too. Our thanks to all of the fans who came along. Our thanks to all of you for watching on along at home. Warm greetings between these two teams. The Dutch have really enjoyed their trips out to Nepal. They played plenty of cricket there in recent times. And credit to everyone, our match officials, all involved at the Forfarshire Cricket Club's grounds here, all of the Cricket Scotland crew, the ground staff, everyone today, our production team, because I know it might look beautiful here, but it's been as challenging a day as I can remember for a number of reasons. Our apologies for our restrictions and our limited nature of our coverage today, but we do want to thank you all so much for watching and for staying with us and for being so understanding. We'll leave you with the cards and the news that Nepal have taken this win in really grand style, a comfortable victory. Gulshan Jah won it with a maximum, but the heroes were really Arif Sheikh and Dipender Singh Ari with the bat. 38 not out is going to do the world of good for him. For the Dutch, the bowlers, well, not a huge amount to cheer really, but I thought Michael Levitt bowled very well with his career best figures of 2 for 43. Kyle Klein was kept wicketless, which was crucial. And Paul van Meekeren, potentially the surprise today. We thought the conditions would suit him and he'd be fast and fiery. But they managed to find a way to nullify his threat. And what you'll see here from the points table is Nepal are starting to bridge that gap. Starting to move vertically, as Mel Farrell was referring to earlier. They are up to 14 points. All of a sudden, up to 10 points. All of a sudden, they're coming into view of Namibia's total of 14 points. They could even equal them if they can stay unbeaten here on this tour of Scotland. And the Dutch, who've now played more games than anyone, well, maybe just looking at those beneath them going, God, we need to beat Scotland in 2 days' time. That should be a really good contest. Always a good clash between those two teams. Do hang with us. We'll have the post-match presentation in a couple of minutes' time as Nepal take the win by 5 wickets. For me, Andrew Leonard, for Mel Farrell, for Nav and for Dom and for all the crew, I want to thank you for staying with us today. It's been tough, but we've got through it, and Nepal have taken a 5-wicket win.